Today I'm going to share how to bounce back from failure, so make sure you stay tuned. Hi, I'm Tony Baish, the founder of 365 Plus, and one of the things that I see so often, and it makes me so sad, is when people don't achieve a goal, or they're trying to achieve a habit and they miss a day, or something didn't go to plan, so they just give up. They just give up, throw their hands up in the air and say, well, it wasn't meant to be. You need to figure out how to bounce back. You need to develop some resiliency. Because being resilient is what's going to make you stronger. It's what's going to help you achieve more goals. If you give up every single time that it gets a little bit tough or something doesn't quite go to plan, you're never going to achieve anything you want to achieve in life. Bouncing back, making mistakes, having failures, having things not going to plan, it's all part of the journey. And it has a really important part because you learn lessons along the way. And this is coming from someone that's very much a recovering, I'm just going to give up because it didn't work out kind of person. I'll give you a really good example. So when I was doing my little project to exercise every day, and it started off for 30 days and then it kept kind of evolving till it was for 365 days, I got quite a fair way along, maybe like 2/3 of the way along, and I missed a day. And I was devastated. I mean, like, I'm not a massive crier, and I was in Heathrow Airport in London. I remember very clearly, and I nearly burst into tears when I realized that I'd missed it, because I'd been working so hard and I'd done all the right things, but then I still screwed up and I missed a day, and I was ready to give up. Okay, it didn't work out. I failed. I was a complete failure. It was the end. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I just remember that feeling of complete defeat. And then my husband, who was kind of scrambling at the time because he's not used to seeing me so upset, was really amazing in that moment. And he said to me, are you really going to give up on everything that you've achieved for missing one day? Are you really going to throw away all of those days that you did something amazing because you missed one day? Are you really going to give up now? Don't you think you've achieved more than somebody that never got off the couch and moved their body? Is it really not worth fighting for? Why are you doing it in the first place? Why do you want to do this? Does it really matter if it's 365 days in a row or if you miss one day? And he was dead right, because I picked up my socks. Like, took me a little while to get over it, but I picked up my socks and I moved on, and I exercised twice the next day to catch up, because the little OCD part of me was like, I have to catch up, I have to do it. But what I learned from that is that having that experience, it made me more committed. It made me more focused. It made me realize that this was worth fighting for. It made me realize how far I'd come. So you have to program yourself to bounce back. You have to program yourself when things don't go to plan, when things don't go the way that you want them to go. You have to push through anyway. You have to try again. You have to keep going. You can't give up. You can't give up. Because the difference between winners and losers, the difference between people that are successful and those that aren't, are that the ones that are successful, they keep going. They keep pushing through. They keep going despite any adversity, despite any things that don't go to plan. They keep going. And there's an amazing saying that I love. And it's like, don't give up 2 feet from gold. Because you never quite know when you're about to hit the jackpot. You never quite know when you're about to have that massive breakthrough, that moment when you're going to be so successful that you could just never imagine it. You just don't know. And if you give up, you could be 2 feet from gold. Imagine that you've been mining and mining and mining and mining and mining for 10 years, and then you give up. And then the next guy comes along, he goes to the exact little hole where you are, and he digs out for a day, and then he hits all of this gold. Do you want to be that person? Do you want to be that person that gave up and they were like literally this close to getting everything they always wanted, but they gave up too soon? I don't think you want to be that person. So you have to bounce back. You have to exercise that resiliency muscle. And how do you do that? It's really simple. You take the moment, You acknowledge the pain that you feel, you acknowledge the loss, you acknowledge the disappointment, and then you look at the lessons you've learned. You look at, why didn't it work? Why didn't I succeed? Why did I mess up? You make the changes and then you push forward and you keep going forward. And you have to keep moving forward. That's all the focus is. All you have to focus is on what you need to do the next day, and then what you need to do the next day, and what you need to do the next day. Just keep focusing and just keep moving forward. Little baby step, little baby step, and you will get there. There's a huge reason. There's like another one of my favorite sayings. I'm full of them today. One of my favorite sayings is that the reason that your windscreen is way bigger than your rear vision mirror is because you just have to have a little look in the rear vision. You just have to kind of look, make sure you check your surroundings, look at the lessons you've learned, but then you have to look forward. You have to just keep moving forward. And that's why it's so important to bounce back. And it's easy to do if you can get out of your own way. Because the second you let that feeling of failure and that lack of self-belief and that lack of confidence and I'm not good enough and I'm never going to achieve it, the second you let that creep in, it's all over. So you've got to have some mechanisms in place to help you to look at it, learn from it, and move on. Move on, bounce back, and have an amazing and even more successful time next time because of all the lessons that you've learned. So make sure you bounce back. I don't want to hear about anyone quitting too early without 2 feet from gold. And I can't wait to hear your stories all about it. Chuck it in the comments below because I would love to hear stories of people that have bounced back and achieved amazing things because they stuck with it. So live vivaciously.